Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this, y'all. What's up? We're headed to the gym right now to go hit legs. My quads are still very, very sore from Tuesday's workout. So I plan on really focusing in on the calves, hamstrings, and glutes. So getting some calf raises, hamstring curls, some hip thrusters, and maybe a few different things. We'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. And without further ado, y'all, we jump right on into it with some banded step in, step out. Activating those glutes, the glute medius, glute max. You can see I'm sitting in what looks to be about a quarter squat. I'm just kind of helping to move through this entire range of motion just to wake up the entire posterior chain. Moving on with some side steps here, getting into a bit of a deeper squat, but the same principle applies. I'm just moving my legs out, trying to get some external rotation of the hips, activating those glute muscles. We then roll into the first exercise, which is going to be our calf raises, specifically our seated calf raises. And I'm really trying to work tempo and range of motion with this exercise, y'all. I see a lot of beginners in the gym just bounce this thing off their Achilles tendon, off their entire foot, and it's like, okay, great, you're bouncing this thing with all the 45s, but your calves aren't getting any serious work. Guys, to maximize this machine, use a good range of motion and a solid methodical tempo, okay? Work those calves, y'all. Give them some love, okay? They don't get enough love, man. Moving on from the calves, we got our hip thrust movement that we are working here on the Smith machine. I've got 50 pounds loaded on each side, and I'm standing on the slant board here, putting my feet up at around a 30-degree angle. This just gives me a little bit more range of motion and allows me to get that extra bit of squeeze for the posterior chain, y'all. This movement here, the hip hinge, translates into so many bigger compound lifts such as the squat and deadlift, and is very, very, very important, and I in my opinion, crucial to add into any well-rounded leg program. Moving on, we've got the single leg variation of this exact same movement. So I'm getting about 10 reps on each side, and anytime that we have the opportunity to isolate or single out one side of the body, I love to take that opportunity because it allows us to work both sides equally and independently, which leads us to having less imbalances, less risk of injury, and just stronger and more independent on both sides, which is always a great thing. Getting away from the hip thrusters, we move on to another Smith machine exercise where we're going into a lunge and calf raise, putting both of these exercises together and working through a big range of motion. As I send my right leg back, I'm loading up my left leg, loading up that quad, the calf, the hamstring, and the glute, and I send my right knee straight up the middle and raise the calf. As I do that, you'll see me switch legs here in just a moment, where I'm now loading up the right leg, sending that left leg on back, loading up those quads, the glutes, the hams, the calves, and sending the knee right on up the middle. For me as a martial artist, I like to include this exercise because it's reminiscent of the same technique used to throw a knee. And so anytime that we can try to get or train in the positions that we are going to be executing, y'all, specificity is what it's all about. So throwing this one in there just for me, just for my own particular needs. And as we move away from the Smith machine lunges, we go right alongside with our lying hamstring curls, done in an alternating fashion. Once again, keeping in touch with the philosophy of trying to work the body independently on both sides, y'all. That way we make sure we're getting equal amounts of work on both sides, helping to prevent any kinds of injury through any kinds of muscular imbalance or strength imbalances. We want to try to be as equal as possible, y'all. It's the best case scenario. Moving on from our hamstring curl, we go right into our leg extensions. So this is basically just the exact opposite movement pattern that we were just working with the curl. With the curl, we are bringing our heel toward our back, and with the extension, we're extending the leg, everyone, okay? So once again, working both sides independently, trying to avoid any kind of strength imbalance and trying to develop strength, power, and coordination in both legs independently, because that's just the way to do it. That's just the way to do it. And finally, to finish off and wrap up all of the machine work, we got a little bit of adductor reps here for the inner thigh, y'all. The inner thigh is your adductors with a D, ad, and your outer thigh, your glute medius, your piriformis, all of that area, that is your abductors, okay? They take your legs away from your center line. That's how I've remembered it anyway. And here we go, being the weird guy at the gym with 5-pound ankle weights, getting some alternating reverse hyperextensions just to develop a little bit more coordination in the glutes, a little bit more straight leg strength, y'all. This is a great exercise for those with lower back issues, okay? Especially if you only use your body weight, and learn how to control your legs using your glutes to be able to be the main driver of movement. You're gonna see me transition from this exercise to a more traditional reverse hyperextension, but this time I've got none other than Mark Bell's hip circle around my knees. I'm constantly trying to keep tension within the band so that way I have activation of the glute medius alongside the glute max, which is the primary driver sending my heels to be parallel with the rest of my body. You'll notice I'll hold for about a second before controlling it back down and then continuing on. And finally, wrapping up today's leg training session is a bit of flexibility training. Once again, taking a page out of Mr. Ben Patrick's playbook, the knees over toes guy, trying to get myself into a deep lunge where I can see from just looking at myself right now, I'm a lot more flexible with this left leg than I was with the right leg. Notice the difference, y'all. With this right leg, it's almost pretty straight, and there's a nice straight line that kind of is almost ready to come out as I'm getting into the deepest part of this lunge. I would love to get this kind of positioning with my legs switched. Eventually, it's gonna happen. But here I'm just using the slant board, 30-pound dumbbell, and working through about 5 reps on each side. We moved on to a Jefferson curl on the slant board. Now, this may look very similar to an exercise that I did on Tuesday, which was the Romanian deadlift here on the slant board. The difference, the main difference anyway, between these two exercises is I'm allowing my back to round just a bit, letting my shoulders relax, and the bar comes below the slant board. I'm really trying to elongate the hams, the calves, and trying to get a little bit more strength and flexibility in the lower back. You'll see a lot of gymnasts using this exercise, the Jefferson curl. Look it up, y'all. It's a great exercise to elongate and alleviate any kind of tightness in the hamstrings, and a great way to gain strength back there. And finally, I say finally a lot, but this is it, y'all. Finally, the straddle stretch, the weighted straddle stretch. Same 30-pound barbell. I'm coming down, trying to bring my chest to the ground, keeping my feet pointed up and externally rotated, y'all. I tried my best to get about 10 reps here and try to go down as far as I possibly could. And that's it.
Alrighty, y'all. That's it. That's the workout. I'm done. I'm drenched in sweat. I mean, this thing is it. Someone turned the water hose on me. I swear. we got a great workout, awesome workout, mainly focused on the back side, the posterior side of the legs. So we included the calves, the hams, the glutes. Got a little bit of work for the quads and some of the Smith machine lunges, and then obviously the leg extensions. But yeah, really just tried to attack the back of the legs, y'all. Like I said, my quads are still torched from Monday's workout. I didn't get any big compound lifts like a deadlift or a squat. I figured that was already taken care of on day one, so no need to go ahead and retrack that. This time, let's go ahead and focus on more movement patterns and a lot more strength through big ranges of motion. So with that said, y'all, we are done. Thanks for watching. If you stayed this long, like, share, subscribe, or dislike, whatever you feel like you want to do. And until next time, see you then, guys. Peace.